after two incredibly fast-paced events, we move on to the 7th event of the inaugural Marble Olympic Games season here in block bumping. As you can see here, the incrementals go by 12, and you even have a tape measure here, and that is exactly why that 96 right there is not there. 108 and then 120, and then that's about as far as it goes. As there you see the standings so far, Arctic Circles and Coffee Colliders are tied at the top, but the Painty Patrollers are coming in hot with 2 golds in a row. Hello everyone, as always I am Evan, and we're going to get started. It's a randomized order, so we're going to start off with the Balloon Rainbows. This team has gotten 2 top 5 finishes and then 4 finishes from 11th through 13th in between that, so not been particularly great so far, and they subbed out their captain in place of the reserve, so that's an interesting choice. As here comes Orange Balloon to be the anchor, to hit the block, and it is not that great of a run. 47.7. We'll have to see where that slots in by the end. And now a team in a similar vein, no pun intended, to the Balloon Rainbows, Membrane Madness, but unlike them, no top 5 finishes so far. Actually, nothing higher than 8th, and only 27 points down to 14th in the standings instead of 12th. But this looks like it might already beat the Balloon Rainbows with just the first 3 marbles. Can the 4th one launch it even further? Yes, they will. And that is exactly 54 centimeters, and this looks like a ballpark run, so that's probably going to be a podium by the end for them. And now, Rising Sunshines. On the contrary end of the first 2 teams, they've been pretty good so far, but the last 2 events would certainly say otherwise. And let's see, will it be this one or not? And here they come. Okay, finally, here comes the first marble, and oh, they've turned the block. And yeah, that is not looking good at all. That is not even going to crack 40, comes 1 millimeter short, and probably a bottom 3 run once again for this team. And now, Torrential Downpours, another team who's been trending downwards, no pun intended there, as of late. Let's see if they can get back on track and go back to the glory days that they were on in the first 3 events, but maybe the month changing did them in a little bit. And yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to be the event where that happens. This isn't a horrific run by any means, but it's not good either. And 46.8 is only going to be 3rd out of 4, and probably going to end up being another very mediocre result for them once again. And now, talk about a team who has certainly been on the opposite end of those last 2, at least still lower than them in the standings, but, you know, doing better as of late. Team Glass got, I believe, 6th, 4th, and 2nd in the last 3 events after a absolutely dreadful start in the first 3, so maybe the month changing favored them quite a bit, and this run doesn't even seem to be that bad either. Yeah, 50.8, and they're in 2nd place once again, so it will be no go up and win the event here, but still probably another double-digit point finish at the very least for them. And now, Green Diamonds, aside from the friction slope, they got 15th recently. They have gotten top half and everything else, so maybe that friction slope performance was just a fluke, and they can translate some of those skyrail skills that they had winning the first event in the relay pursuit, and they'll get the first invalid run here instead. And the first marble just chucked that out, just literally bumped it without a care in the world, and now they're on their 2nd of 3 attempts here, so they have to get a valid run within the next 2 runs, otherwise a disqualification and automatic get last is likely in order for them. And oh, I can see, I think they turned the block to an angle and barely beat the Rising Sunshines as a result. Maybe wishing they went to a 3rd attempt because that was just pathetic. Right now, speaking of a team who's literally been the definition of pathetic so far, Feline Pupils got dead last in the first event, dead last in the last event, and nothing in between went particularly well. The highest they've gotten is 10th in Staircase Drop, which was a 1x1 event, so maybe something will somehow trigger them into doing anything here. And actually, hold up, that actually doesn't even look that bad. 48.6 is actually currently 3rd, so somehow they provisionally get on the podium, and maybe a top 5 finish is in store for them. And now, Neptune Ninjas, when it comes to 1x1 events, they have been the definition of pathetic. Everything else so far has been pretty good for them, which is the reason they're in the top half, because, good lord, their Staircase Drop and balancing performances were absolutely awful, and this looks to be no different as the first marble pulls the Green Diamonds and knocks the block out within an instant. So they will go again and hope to do literally anything with this. Let's see what happens here. Alright, they are going to keep it in so far. Let's see, will they knock it out again? No. And it's better than the Diamonds, that's for sure. And the Sunshines, but nobody else so far, so only 6th out of 8 with a 46.2. Not a particularly good run from them. And now Amazing Algaes haven't been amazing at all, really, for a home team especially. Maybe host curse striking for them. They did get a medal in friction slope, but other than that, they haven't placed in the top half once. And wait a minute. That block I forgot to reset and put back in the place I was supposed to put it in. Oh my goodness, now they're going to have to go again. This is still their first run, so that doesn't count as an invalid run. That was just me screwing up whatever right there. Let's see what actually happens here. They're still in the first run. Oh, but now they're going to have to do it again as the third marble somehow. Not the first. Somehow the third knocks it out. And once again, they continue to be anything but amazing, and it seems like that friction slope bronze that I mentioned at the beginning of the run, well, the first run that, didn't count at all for anything, was definitely a fluke, but this actually, if they don't knock it out again, and they don't, is actually a pretty good one, 51.8, and not even that far off of beating the Membrane Madness either, so that's pretty amazing. Yeah, can't believe I said that either. And speaking of amazing, Painty Patrollers, after winning the last two events, let's see what they do here. And will it be a third gold in a row? That would be extremely rare, but that would be pretty funny if that did happen. But with the state of this run, oh my goodness, it's going to be probably a third gold if we could just reverse the results. And yeah, literally, that is dead last. Worse than the Rising Sunshines by 2 millimeters. And yeah, definitely a unpleasant sight for their fans. And now, speaking of the very definition of unpleasant, the Fire Pits have been unpleasantly burning in every event so far. Can they finally turn that around? And Feline Pupils, the other team without a top half finish, and their fellow abbreviation rivals, actually did something in their run, so maybe the Fire Pits will logically do well here, but no. Only beating 3 teams, and only a 42.1, probably gonna end up being another bottom 4 finish for them. And now on the polar opposite end, no pun intended, to the team they are tied with in the top of the standings right now that I mentioned earlier, the Coffee Colliders have yet to finish outside the double digits in any event. Let's see if they can keep that streak going, or if it will finally end here, as they are pushing it pretty far. Is that enough for a medal? No. Just by half a centimeter they fall short of Team Glass, but that is probably going to be a 7th straight double-digit point finish for them, so the streak won't end here. And now, speaking of the team they are tied with at the top of the standings right now, the Arctic Circles are literally the next team up. You can see the run order up to the top for the final 3 teams that have yet to go. And they have been unstoppable, practically, in these 1x1 events, second in staircase drop and winning balancing. And that might win another one here, not quite, but it's probably going to be a 4th medal in 5 events for them. 53.2 is quite good. And now Silhouette Squad, the team who denied them of winning staircase drop back in the 3rd event. Not going to be the ones to deny them of winning block clipping, because no one can do that now, because Membrane Madness are still at the top of the board. But let's see, after they also got 5th in balancing the very next event, can they keep up being amazing in these 1x1 events? The answer is a resounding yes, that's for sure. Takes away the Amazing Algae's podium and gets right onto it as well, 52.1, and pushes the Coffee Colliders ever closer to the end of the double-digit streak. And now the Professional Paladins are up. They have not been professionals at really anything besides mediocrity in both the 1x1 events and just the entire league, except maybe Funnel Endurance in general here. And, the second marble falls off. And yeah, that's going to be a penalty centimeter. I don't know if I mentioned it at the beginning. And for a 3 marble hit, that was actually pretty good, but 11th, and that's probably going to be 12th. Only 42.2 with the penalty centimeter. And now, Volcanic Vindication, the only team left who can beat the Membrane Madness Arctic Circles, are guaranteed a podium, as I predicted earlier. But will the Volcanic Vindication sneak onto it, perhaps win the event altogether in the final run of it? Let's see what happens here. Okay, there's the 2nd and 3rd ones. This is actually pushing it pretty far. If the 4th one doesn't knock it out and pushes it far enough, I think they've won, and they have. 56.5 centimeters is all 2.5 centimeters clear the Membrane Madness, and it ends the Coffee Colliders double-digit streak and takes away the Silhouette Squad's podium. And yep, a ton of celebration is present with those fans in the stands as they get the win. Membrane Madness, bummed to miss out, but that is still so much better than anything else they have experienced so far. And Arctic Circles get their 4th medal in 5 events and go 3 for 3 on medals in 1x1 events. In fact, complete the cycle in that category. And now in the overall standings, they retain their leads, gone from 0 to 6 ahead of the Coffee Colliders. Volcanic Vindication jumped to 3rd ahead of the Painty Patrollers after both get 1st and last in this event. Next event's Distant Strike. See you then.